I apologize, everyone. I am a couple of minutes late. Welcome, warrior slash warriors. I like to make it singular and plural. Let's first, before I start talking about some very important headlines and what's going on here in New York City and also in Washington, D.C., let's have a check in, if you will, a roll call. I see that Edie is already here. William Smith is here. Can you hear me? Thank you, Edie, because we have to hit the like button. We got to get into the algorithms. I'm always talking about dangerous algorithms for kids. I want to be in the algorithms with the warriors so I can get the information out to you. The more likes we get, the more subscriptions. Come on, it's free. So if you are listening and not subscribed, do us a favor and subscribe. Okay, Lionel Nation says loud and clear, 5x5. Okay, Edie says 5x5, good enough for me. Let's get going on this Wednesday, Warrior Wednesday afternoon here in New York City. What an impactful week so far, and I'll be leaving at the crack of dawn in the AM, and that would be 3:30 a.m. to go take the train down to Washington so I can be part of a Senate roundtable. Before we start that, I want to remind everybody about a couple of things. I mean, what is our mission at the Warriors? Our mission is ending human slavery and sexual exploitation by raising awareness through media and grassroots mobilization, advocacy, education, and policy. I want to remind everybody there's Claudie, because you may not know actually what we do. I know that's hard to believe, but I just want to make sure you understand everything we do. Think of this as a big wheel with a lot of spokes, and each spoke represents, it can be sex trafficking, labor trafficking. Primarily, we talk about children, children in the United States. Yes, this is a global epidemic, pandemic, if you will, all of this exploitation, but we are focused right here in our own backyards, in our own communities. So I want to start the discussion tonight with what an impactful morning we had here in New York City. The Warriors, along with the Heat Initiative, Design It For Us, Log Off Movement, parents, youth advocates, we peacefully held a press conference. I can talk about it now because we don't get permission and we don't want Meta getting wind of what we're doing. They probably figured it out somehow, but we're a harmless group in public. Um, Held a press conference in front of their headquarters, which is a nondescript building here in New York, has no name, no signage, no anything. And the most impactful thing is we had a couple of the whistleblowers that last week testified in front of Congress. And that is so important because they were there doing the research at Meta. Remember, Meta is Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And so they brought forth, while they were employees of Meta, things they found, sexual things regarding children, predators, research that suggested, this is harmful to kids. And when they brought it to their superiors, if you will, to their higher ups, they were told, suppress the information. We're not putting out that information. Why don't you change the words, use these words, and we'll get it up the chain at Meta. And so they never heard Mark Zuckerberg. They thought it was curious. But we must applaud these brave whistleblowers because in this movement, which we are fighting big tech, look, I always tell you the digital. I feel like, there I go. I feel like I have, thank you, Claudie. Claudie, big tech working against me when I talk about these things, but let's talk about it. Now, uh, Claudie, we're talking about the Warriors right now. So, yes, Lionel was just great on the redacted, but let's now switch and transition. Let me use that word over to the Warriors and talk about this morning. So, we at the Warriors cannot do our work without these whistleblowers. And they are so important to reveal the inner workings and hold big tech accountable. So, in other words, I will take all of the information from our impromptu very quickly in the last few days. This press conference was put together, and I'll tell you what's interesting is, and we've done it before in the springtime in front of Meta. We hold signs. You can see some pictures if you go to Lynn's Warriors. Very peaceful. And we have a police liaison. We're not out to hurt, block doors, storm lobbies, but from the inside, they locked all their doors. I guess thinking that's the thing here in New York. It's always people are always storming lobbies, right? We're not doing that. And a lot of press. So that will be covered. Probably that'll start coming out very shortly, the press. But I want to say that I can take that information from today. The most painful thing, I haven't been trafficked. I haven't lost a child, to big tech. To take these parents, these brave parents who tell us, because frankly, I don't really know how they do it, and talk about it. We have a wonderful group, but that's their therapy, okay? They talk about why Meta harmed their child, what led, to that child, the ultimate harm. I'm going to leave it at that because, we have algorithms. We're always talking about algorithms, right? But don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe because that's a good algorithm to help the warriors. But all kidding aside, I can take the information from today, right? In talking to the different groups there, to talking to the parents again, to talking to the youth advocates, tremendous turnout of youth advocates, 30 and under, are very angry that all of this social media was thrown at them, right? They didn't know, we didn't know, right? It was a fun place, connect with your friends and family members and exchange ideas, and sounds great, right? And now here we are. Here we are with a lot of horror that we're facing. And you all know this. But the important thing is I take this information from today and that I bring it to our Senate roundtable tomorrow to say, this is what the parents, that is the most effective parents, right? Because I can talk about it, I can rattle off facts, studies, this, that. But the suffering, unfortunately, is what resonates. So I am very excited. It seems like a bad word to use with all of this, but I am very happy to be part of the Senate Roundtable and to bring these ideas forth, and also to other groups that'll be there tomorrow, that we can exchange ideas and to see other coalitions, to see other friends, other warriors working in this area so we can get the information out. But I want to tell everybody that while all this is going on, remember that wheel, because one of those spokes on the wheel is about mental health. And this morning I was 1 a.m. ET on the other side of midnight with my saint of a husband, Lionel, Warrior Wednesday on WABC Radio, a full hour of talking about mental health, right? We must not forget this part of all of this exploitation, the mental health, okay? The mental health. It is a crisis, a youth crisis in America. And I want to keep talking about it because right now, the biggest thing, because I throw a lot at you and on a daily basis, the biggest thing we're facing right now is the AI, the artificial intelligence, right? And we have to talk about chatbots. 7 out of 10 teens, okay, that would be 12 to 17 or thereabouts, have used an AI companion, a chatbot. What's a chatbot? Let me refresh your memory. It's a digital friend. And there is a program for free called character.ai. And the kids are creating these digital friends. Yet there are no guardrails at all. At least if you have a person, and you know how tough this is anyway, right? Who commits a crime against a child, right? You can arrest them. There are laws on the books, right? But we're talking about something that doesn't exist, a chatbot. Now, the problem is a year ago, we never even had chatbots. And now it's the number one thing I want to talk about contributing to our children's mental health. Because when I told you, remember, 7 out of 10, that's what the teens have told us. It could be 9 out of 10. It could be 8 out of 10. We don't really know. But these digital characters that you can make in your any kind of likeness you want, you can base it on a character from a movie, a streaming show, a gaming platform, a Disney character, and you develop this one on one. And kids are so curious. So they're talking, talking to this digital friend, revealing information. And they're also, remember, their little minds are, oh, how far can I go with something? Therein lies where a lot of problems can form because then this digital friend learns that child, that teen, or any of us, for a matter of fact. Let's stick with the kids though for right now. And that bot then can suggest very harmful things. And there is nothing right now to stand in the way of this. There are several lawsuits pending, percolating on the horizon for these chatbots that have told kids, how to harm themselves this way, how to harm family members, how to harm society. We have to go back a little bit. We have to think about, okay, right now, let me give you some stats. Look, we learned during COVID isolation, kids on the devices. Now we're seeing a lot of this play out a couple of years later. But when we have teen depression is basically about 60%. Over 50% of teens are saying they walk around in a persistent state of feeling depressed. 50%, right? Okay. Then we have girls with body image, and girls especially. We have now over 60% thinking there's something wrong with them, persistently thinking, I could be better, I could look better, I'm worth nothing. Can you imagine? That's over half of our teen girl population. And we're also understanding the ages are getting younger and younger. We're talking now 9, 10, 11. That is very frightening. All of this is frightening, but that's really frightening. And the problem is studies are rare, something I'll be bringing up at the Senate roundtable tomorrow. And the answer always is, well, we can't do a study. It costs so much money. I think our government should step up. Frankly, we all pay taxes. They work for us and provide with this youth mental health crisis, which is part of the whole digital scope, right? Because we do have a lot of studies that do tell us that being online, excessive online leads to so many of these things we're talking about. But they got to step it up. I'll be very forceful about that tomorrow. What are we waiting for? Because the last roundtable, I guess that was about 5 months ago with the Senate, we talked about these issues. What has changed since then? What has changed since then? So we have solutions. We have good groups and organizations working that could change things. So plug us in. Give us the resources. Our ideas work. Let us build for you. Let us help you build. Remember, new administration cleaning up from the old administration and running around trying to figure out what's going on. But we're already there at different organizations. We know what's going on. We can help you cut through this kind of red tape and get it going. Because remember, as far as the work we do at the Warriors, two things. I always tell you, legislation is important that we put in place to protect everybody. And then also in your home, your community, you have to be the boots on the ground yourself because you see how long this takes to get legislation. So right now, going back to this morning, one of the Meta whistleblowers revealed that internal research showed Instagram worsened body images. They're big on that body image on Instagram for girls. And 1 in 3 girls were deeply affected by this. And also, they revealed the Meta whistleblowers. Meta knows all about Mark Zuckerberg. They know all about like sexual predators, and they know about these chatbots. They know. Now, they're starting to, step up and say, there was a statement put out the other day. Well, we're not going to have, these bots. We're gonna handle it with our safety. We don't want any of this. I spoke to a couple of different people today in the know. Nobody knows about safety teams on any of these big tech platforms. There's no transparency. Is anybody watching anything? Are there teams? I venture to say, again, I don't know this to be fact, that no, there's nobody watching anything because it's a runaway train. And I've seen just in the last few months how everything is escalating and taking off. And now that we have this AI and we have an administration who is very much into artificial intelligence, they want to be the global leaders. They've made, no bones about it. They're forgetting right now the piece about the kids and safety. So that tomorrow is going to be a top subject for the Warriors in expressing to various members of Congress what we have to over and over again. The artificial intelligence with the chatbots leading into all this mental health. I mean, it's more than a parenting issue, okay? Um, it's more than what we should be dealing with. We have to have society, we have to have our legislators work on things to help us. We really have to. I mean, it's a crisis. You know, we have this constant, kids have this constant stream, right? We all do, but let's focus on the kids again, of trauma, violence. They've become numb. They've become habituated. It's become normalized. The last week, just a week ago, we had Charlie Kirk. Think of the trauma kids are watching that video over and over again. Think about all of these people coming forward, and I don't even want to go there, right? We're going to stay positive, right? All the reports of teachers showing kids these videos of Charlie Kirk or forcing them to watch it. Horrific. The kids are traumatized. We have that. We had 9/11 last week. We had Arena on the train. We have this 22-year-old now who they say, did away with Charlie Kirk. We don't really know yet, to be honest with you. Seems that way. But it's all, it's another youth. So they're seeing that. Now, I will say, boys, everybody's in trouble as far as the kids, the teens, our young people. I'm going to say 30 and under. I like to say are born into the digital bubble. But it's playing out now, this radicalization that really, a lot of it started, well, really sped up during COVID when the kids were spending, especially our boys, were feeling very lost, right? But they found this community online and they're engaging with each other, they're empowering each other. And who knows? They think they may be with a group of kids, right? You know this, right, warriors? But it's really evil forces behind the scenes in these groups pretending to be other teens and talking about, wouldn't that be cool to do? Wouldn't that be great to do? Can you imagine if we could do that? And you know what? We're seeing things play out. We have this group 764. It was like started 10 years ago, I think, by a teen. And not only are they kind of fantasizing, they are actually directing. I'd be very curious with all of these shootings we've been having, if we could get the information, which there, again, seems to be not complete transparency on a lot of things, right? This 764 has directed kids to not only hurt themselves, hurt their family members, hurt their family pets, but horrible, horrible things. And we're a family program. I'm not going into it. You can look it up, 764. The FBI did put out one or two warnings about it. Not strong enough. We need constant, PSAs, whether it's the television, it's online. That should be part and parcel of, I think, what all of these big tech platforms should be providing, right? Why do I have to hear, expenses all the time, money all the time? Make these big tech platforms do some of this work, but we can't do it till we kick that awful Section 230, the Communications Decency Act, to the curb. Giving them, oh, you're just a billboard, you're just a newsstand. But Senator Josh Hawley is working on a bill. I have confidence. I know Kash Patel mentioned it yesterday when he was in Congress about ending Section 230. So I think that's down the pike. But in the meantime, is that just a pat on the back? Because the artificial intelligence will be so extreme. Let's just sweep all this other stuff under the rug and kind of carry on, with this artificial intelligence. Let me make sure I don't miss any. Gracie Loves George is glad to be here. Edie says, I developed an eating disorder when I was 15. My heart goes out to young girls. So Edie, can you imagine, and everyone constantly seeing, and it's good because kids are waking up, but the adults have to do it too. I mean, the online world is fake for the most part. The filters, right? The what I own kind of thing. My boyfriend, my girlfriend, it's fake, but the young brains don't. And so they're getting sucked in. And some kids, I took my button off. I was wearing 11-year-old Selena today for our press conference. And her mother, Tammy, gives me full permission to talk about it. And Selena did the ultimate harm to herself. 11 years old. We have kids as young as 5 going into schools and telling their teachers, I want to do away with myself. Now, how do you learn that at 5 years old? You hear it from older kids, you hear it in the household, you see it online. Remember, we can't tell you when to give your child a device. That's your parental autonomy. But what child at age 5 needs any devices? Okay? So we're seeing with the boys this radicalization. It is true. It is happening. I urge all of you to go back. I didn't post it yet, but I will. The WABC interview from this morning. It's chock full of information I want you to know about. And I want you to know about, I wish we had for this mental health, instead of this gender ideology and all that we spend a lot of time on. I wish every school had mental health counselors. Most schools don't even have a school nurse anymore, but actual mental health, trained people, mental health counselors to deal. I'm not talking about one, I'm talking about multiple in each school, right? To deal with our kids. Because they're just being left to kind of hang, and the parents are being left to hang. So remember, bots mean digital friends. Remember, and you know this, families are overwhelmed, right? A lot going on. But when we have teens spending, again, there are various studies, 7 to 12 hours a day on the internet. And we know that big tech deliberately designs platforms to be addictive because we have the whistleblowers now. We have people coming forward, thank goodness, that can back up what we talk about. And remember, addictive. It's like gambling, right? The dopamine levels, things like that. So what are we left with? What are we going to do, warriors? We're going to push. There's nothing left except we need some regulation and community accountability. Now, I know people don't like regulation. I'm concerned about all of this too. Because if you regulate one thing, just follow my thread here, other things can be regulated that we may not want regulated. But we have to talk about child safety. I thought anything with children that harms them, is kind of against the law, right? So why are these videos, why wasn't that Charlie Kirk video taken down immediately? Right? It wasn't. But a reminder, I can repost a story, not even mine, I'm reposting it, well vetted. It's not from some crazy site or crazy person. I've even had it happen from things like Washington Post, where then I get, you can't post this, community standards, things of that nature. So there is the ability to censor, we know this, but you're not censoring the harmful videos of children or content. That part I'll bring up again tomorrow, kind of falls on deaf ears. But what are we going to do? Let's focus on that community piece. So we're going to have to figure out some regulation, certainly for these digital friends, these digital bots. Okay. What are we going to do about those? Okay. Remember, we didn't even have bots a year ago. We weren't talking about digital friends, digital bots. And now, again, reminder, 7 out of 10 teens admit they are using these digital bots, getting to know, programming these digital bots. But that bot then is going to program you. It's going to come back. And that's where, how is that controlled? Well, we already know bots telling kids to harm themselves or others. So, look, the youth mental health crisis is real, it's urgent, and it's worsening. I don't know what else to tell you. There's so much hope, though. I mean, we have to equip our kids. I know I'm a broken record, but until people really start taking action, I'm chipping away at this. We have to have digital literacy. Digital literacy. You have to talk to your kids. You can't tell them, don't do that, log off, blah, blah, blah. You got to actually talk to them. I mean, kind of treat them like as your equal. Kids are smart. Remember, they have seen so much stuff online. They've heard so much stuff. Things they should never hear. Things you and me shouldn't be hearing. But they've heard it. So treat them with that respect. And teach them to recognize they're being taken advantage of. The thing I always get kids to really pay attention is when I say to them, they're making money off of your back. They don't care about you. You're one of millions. And they're like, making money? Because kids don't even realize it's all about, the bottom line is always money. Money, 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 and ads running and keeping those eyeballs on so the ads can keep running. Numbers, 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 right? But when I tell the kids that's what they're doing, a lot of the kids are like, not off of me, I'm going to cut out an hour a day or something like that. So we've got to chip away. I like to say chip away at all of this. Um, but social media, it's such a social media, right? And internet addiction are major drivers of all of this youth mental health, of a lot of things going on with our kids. They're not side issues, major drivers of all that is going on. So every parent and educator and policymaker and neighbor, all of us in 2025, I mean, we all have a role in safeguarding children in some way, shape, or form. And it's really not, I'm here to say protecting kids, it's no longer an option. It's the measure of our society today, our morals. I do not kid you when I tell you this. And morals, that's a word I really don't use or preach about, but I'm seeing this play out in front of me in the last year. And so we must talk to the kids. We must listen to the kids. They're vulnerable. We're all vulnerable, right? Understand. We heard a lot of talk in the last week about Discord. Discord, it's a messaging app. We have had Discord in 2024 on our Dirty Dozen list from our great allies, National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington. Every year they put out a Dirty Dozen list, 12 entities that contribute to CSAM, child sexual abuse material. Discord has been on there, but Discord itself hasn't done anything. I believe Discord, the CEO, testified yesterday. I'll have to look up what he said, but it was pretty much like nothing, as usual. We'll do our best. We don't want anybody harmed. We'll look into it. That's pretty much the answers we get from every big tech platform. But I want to say also, we have lonely kids. So what we have to do is, when I put out this call to action, which is going to be coming very shortly, Kids Online Safety Act, I talk about it all the time. We have to get it passed in this Congress. We are 5 years into this, sponsored by Senator Marsha Blackburn and Senator Richard Blumenthal. Remember, everything's bipartisan. Amy Klobuchar is part of it. It passed 91-3 in the Senate. So now we have the House. Now we need to bring it to a vote. Speaker Mike Johnson, I don't know what he's waiting for. Put it on the calendar. That'll be another one of mine tomorrow. What's holding this up? Put it on the schedule. And all it needs is to go to a vote. So my job is also going back and reminding everybody in Washington who originally sponsored it, right? Go back. It's almost 5 years old. Now we're in our 5th year. Remind them the need again to sponsor. When I put out the call to action to the public, it simply requires your name and zip code, and I want every warrior we know, and to spread it with other people. Let's leverage the internet for good, because we need the public behind us to strengthen us. You are the warriors out there. I want to finish up with a reminder. The National Education Association put out the report cards recently. Again, why nobody questioned this? They're supposed to come out yearly. And the last report cards were in 2019. Okay. And it's not looking good. It's basically around either 20-something% or 30-something% for, let's use 12th graders right now, right? Because it's a K through 12 with the report cards. A lot of the studies are 4th grade, 8th grade, 12th grade, but we'll stick with 12th grade, graduating high school from now on. Right now, it's about 30%. I'm gonna just average it out for you that are at reading level. 20-something% at level for mathematics, and 20-something%, I believe, for science. So our kids aren't learning. Now, we do have, in many states right now, with this new school year, which basically began last month, depends where you live, like Florida was last month, August. New York, we just started maybe 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks ago tomorrow, actually, a little later, phone-free classrooms, meaning the kids bell to bell, but the phone's away. We're hearing reports that is helping. But then a teacher reminded me, everybody was wearing an Apple Watch. They have to be very careful, because you can do everything on an Apple Watch. You can take phone calls, you know this. You have internet capability. It's supposed to be all devices are put away during the day. Now, some schools say you can have it at lunchtime. Some say you can have it here. Everybody's a little bit different. Again, this is nothing federal. But the reports we're getting from teachers, it's so much better. We don't have the disruptions. The reports we get from kids, they like it. Once they get over that kind of, I don't have my phone on me, right? Because we all do that. Like we know we have our phone, but we can't find it. It's in our bag, it's wherever it is. So we do have good things in place we're working harder on, but that's where I need you to go into your communities and share this information. So I'm going to leave you with that, warriors. Edie, thank you for always pushing the likes and for always doing that. You are a tremendous warrior. You've been with us from the beginning. I want everybody to focus on kids. Think in your mind how we can help kids. You may not have kids, you may have grandkids, you may have neighbors with kids, siblings with kids. We have kids around us all the time. Remember, our future adults, our future American leaders, what are we doing to them? It's criminal. It must be stopped. We must intervene and prevent. And so right now we're going to focus on one thing. When I put out the call to action for Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, coming shortly, you will all sign on to that. That's easy lifting, nothing. Name, zip code, so we have representation in that area in the United States. And the second thing is talk to kids. If you have kids, around kids, equip the kids with this digital literacy. That is my new thing I'm using, digital literacy. Families form this family partnership. And then the other thing is talk to your schools. Talk to your schools. What is their phone free? Do they have that? You can go in the Warriors under our take actions. You can see the notes, what you present to your school. It's very simple. Get other parents to go with you. Do anything you can to advocate for children, our precious kids, because I remind you, protecting kids is not optional. It's really a measure of our society. And when I tell you I am scared and I'm a warrior, I'm scared for our kids. We need to do a better job protecting them, mentoring them, and giving them the tools to say this is manipulation and you will not accept that. Walk away. And I know we can do it together. So please honor our warriors. Hashtag community creates change. Remember to always check out linswarriors.org. And also, a newsletter will go out by the end of the week. It's going to be focused on, well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave it for a little bit of a surprise, okay? Probably Kids Online Safety Act, because I want everybody to get involved. I want to keep brainwashing everybody that you need to get involved with that. And I want to remind everybody, thank you for all of the donations, the goods, the services, your offers of volunteering when we have different giveaways and things of that nature. It helps keep us going. So we thank you very much because, as you know, we have educational programs and we support survivors of exploitation and help them with different things. And I got to get ready for Washington because tomorrow they're going to be hearing a lot from the warriors. Thanks, everybody. We will talk again soon.